Hello, folks. Good evening. It's brilliant to see you. Thank you for joining and welcome to Ask Me Anything on our new time slot at 7 o'clock on a Monday evening. I'm joined tonight by my colleague, Gareth Hughes. Gareth, good evening. How are you tonight?
I'm good, Mark. How are you?
Yes, I'm brilliant. I'm looking forward to a really great session with you, Gareth. Thank you so much for joining. Before we dive in, so, Gareth, we got a new Prime Minister.
I know. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see, right? But a massively full in tray when she gets in, and what do you deal with first?
Yeah.
I think that's the question.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got Ukraine. You've got the energy crisis. You've got inflation. You've got everything. Where do you start?
Yeah, there's a lot to dive into, right? But more importantly, from where we're concerned, we're going to have a look from the point of view of, well, what does this all mean for business owners? So, but before we dive into that, Gareth, folks, tell us where you are. Tell us where you're watching. I can see some people on, which is absolutely brilliant. We're live on multiple platforms tonight. We're live across at least 3 Facebook accounts, 2 LinkedIn accounts. We're live on YouTube as well. So, look, can you do me a couple of favors, folks? Tell me your name when you ask a question. Pop your questions into the comments, okay? And hopefully they'll pop up on the screen in front of us, all right? If you could do that, that'd be absolutely brilliant. Look, it's not a very good ask me anything if you don't ask questions. So let's make it interactive. Let's make it engaging. We are prepared. We are going to dive in, Gareth, tonight. We're going to talk about the new Prime Minister, but from the point of view of what does this mean for business owners and what should business owners be doing? But we have had a couple of questions come in. We have been asking for questions, Gareth. Nick over in the group asked a question actually back end of last week, I think, and his question was along the lines, if you can remember it, it was along the lines of, I'm toxic to my business. How do I get out of the way of myself in my business? What do you think about that, Gareth?
I mean, firstly, what a great question, because I think, and I guess the first stage is being self-aware of that. So, good job on Nick for having the awareness that is actually him. There's a lot of toxic business owners. There's a lot of toxic managers who actually don't believe that they are the problem, right? So I think that's the first stage. But I'm guessing, and I don't know any of the circumstances, but I'm guessing the reason why the toxicity is there is because hopefully he has a team and he doesn't trust the team. And that's where the toxic culture, the toxic workplace comes in, where there's just a lack of trust.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I've got a pile of books over here. One of my favorites that I always go to. Where is it? I think you know what I'm looking for. Here it is. It's up here. Five Dysfunctions. You know what? It's not in my pile of books by my desk tonight. But yeah, 5 dysfunctions. The first dysfunction, as you know very well, Gareth, is an absence of trust, right? So that can lead to the toxicity, right?
And that leads to a lot of things, because if there's a lack of trust, what is going to be happening is, I guess, Nick is going to be micromanaging. But also what's going to be happening is the team aren't going to be aware enough to take risks. They're not going to be empowered enough to take any risks, to make any decisions by themselves. So there's another thing, actually. What then happens is all decisions get deferred to Nick, and as the toxic business owner, and he becomes the bottleneck, and ultimately that nothing can run without Nick there, which leads to Nick being in overwhelm, working long hours, working weekends, which leads to, we don't know if he's a family man or not, but which leads to him not being able to spend time with the family. That leads to a toxic family life, right? So this is like a cancer, right? It spreads. And I mean, I guess, what can you do about it? The first stage is to be aware of it.
Yeah. Well, I guess, and to allow yourself, once you're aware, is to allow yourself to be vulnerable, right? That's what Patrick Lencioni talks about in 5 Dysfunctions, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do we mean by that? allow yourself to be somebody who makes mistakes, right? It's okay to make mistakes, but
and your
also
team.
and your team. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
totally. Sometimes it's okay to fail. In fact, all the time it's okay to fail. But there's some real practical elements that Nick can do to stop this happening, right? And one of them is having accurate key performance indicators for each person.
yeah,
That's going to allow Nick to step back a little bit, because ultimately you empower the team to meet those KPIs,
yeah,
and as long as they meet those KPIs. I mean, this is a culture shift within the organization. I don't know how big the business is, but this is a culture shift where, as long as people meet those KPIs, they don't, you as a business, you don't really care how they get there, as long as they meet the KPIs in a safe and legal manner, right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Another one, of course, is allowing there to be conflict. Look, I'm not saying you want to be arguing at each other's throats all the time, but having conflict is healthy because it allows you to resolve things and move on without keeping going back over things over and over and over again, right?
Yeah, and being able to receive that feedback as well.
Mm.
In all the high performing teams I've worked in, the key factors have been honest feedback really fast.
Yeah.
And that is one of the hallmarks of a high performance team. Really honest feedback. That doesn't mean it's toxic feedback. That doesn't mean it's you're having a go at someone. But if you're giving honest feedback in the right way, that's actually very helpful.
Love it, Gareth. Brilliant, brilliant. Hey, folks, look, whilst Gareth's talking, I'm checking because we are live on 5 different platforms at the moment. So I'm trying to find questions, find your comments, folks. Please make sure you mention your name if you're asking questions. Put your comments and your questions down below underneath the post in the feed. And hopefully, if we got the tech working properly, then those comments and questions should pop up on our screen. So we're just keeping an eye out for that whilst we're at it. So if you see me distracted, that's what I'm looking for. So Gareth, Liz Truss is in the chair. She's got a new job. Okay, we've got a couple of dynamics going on. We've got interest rates have gone up, right? And we've also got inflation going up as well. But the important thing I want to talk about is, well, what does all of that mean for us and for the community as business owners? What's the impact? What's the impact of the interest rates rising right now? But more importantly, what should we do about these things?
Yeah, you might be quite shocked at my answer, but what does it mean for us as business owners? I'm going to say nothing, right? Because you can't control what Liz Truss is. You can't. It doesn't matter who's in power, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, whoever. You can't control what they do. You can't control interest rates. You can't control inflation. So don't try. But what you can control is your response to it.
Yeah.
So you, in effect, and I used this phrase today with somebody, and they really liked it. They're going to steal it. But in effect, you create your own economy within your business, right? And it doesn't matter about. I get that there's stuff going on with the macro economy and energy prices and all this kind of stuff, but ultimately, what bearing does that have on us as business? Not much, right? What we can do is we can have our response to that.
Yeah.
So let's just chuck a few out there. If inflation is going up, well, what does that mean for you? Well, actually, that's a real good opportunity for you to review your own pricing structure. Maybe put your prices up.
Absolutely.
Okay, maybe change your plan. Maybe have a new offering. If every business owner listening, if I was to go to every one of your clients or customers or whatever you call them, and ask them, hey, do you know every single product that this person offers? Would they say, oh yeah? If you're really honest, very few would say yes, right? It would be a no. So it's an opportunity to upsell, cross-sell, bring a new product to market. I've got a client right now who's just looking at bringing a brand new product to market in an industry that has been dominated by one or two players, big players for the last probably 50 years, right? Now, you might say that's not a great time to bring a new product to market. Actually, it's the ideal time to bring a new product to market, right? So there's opportunity in everything. This is an opportunity. We can moan about it, we can complain about it, or we can create our own economy and get on with it.
Absolutely right. Let's just pick up. There's quite a few things in there, Gareth. Let's just pick a few of those things out. One was raise your prices, right? So, folks, when was the last time you raised your prices? I bet you haven't done it in the last year because you've been through COVID. I bet you were too scared to. I bet you didn't do it in the year before that either. So, my hunch is for the majority of you, you haven't raised your prices for at least 2 years. Would I be right? I guess I probably am, right? I think that goes for a lot of businesses out there right now because they've been too scared to raise their prices. Now is your opportunity. Okay, cost of living, inflation is up 10%. That's your opportunity to raise your pricing. The reality is your costs are going up too. How are you going to cover them? Are you just going to stand that in your margin, or are you going to increase your revenue by increasing your pricing? Very often, and I'm sure you see this with your clients a lot, Gareth, a lot of people have a fear of raising their prices, but the reality is when they actually do it, they get very little pushback.
Yeah, no one cares. Yeah. The biggest barrier to raising prices isn't your customers, it is you. The most scared person is often the business owner. Yeah? A lot of people, if you position in the right way and you explain to your customers and you give the reason for that happening, very often I would be very surprised if you lost any client. The reality is you can then afford to lose clients because you are raising your prices and you're taking more margin, right? So there's a weird dichotomy, and people are scared of losing customers. The reality is very different. I would say 99 times out of 100, you don't lose any clients. The one time that you do lose clients, it's actually the clients you want to lose anyway, because they are those D-grade clients.
D-grade clients, yeah, absolutely. So, folks, look, raise your prices. Okay, what else can we do? Have a look at your product offer. Have you got? Are you clear, by the way, on what makes you unique? Are you clear on what differentiates you from your competitors? Right? What's your unique selling proposition? And the one thing, what do clients always say, Gareth? They'll always say service.
Service. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a classic. Yeah. What makes you different? Oh, it's our customer service, right? Yeah. No, it's not. Okay. Yeah. I can guarantee you it's not.
Because everybody does that to us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's we actually care about the customers. That's great, but that's not a differentiator. Everybody cares about their customers, right? The one thing I'll say about products as well is, and this is huge at the moment, can you bundle products together? Very often service-based industries, they don't think about this, but is there a way you can bundle your products together in order to make a new offering, in order to raise your prices and increase your margins, right? That's true for retail businesses as it is for, accountants and solicitors and that kind of thing. Is there a product bundle you can take to the market in order to give extra perceived value and raise your prices at the same time?
Absolutely. So something else that we can do, Gareth, is I just want to touch on this around marketing. Okay, and folks, you'll have all seen this during the pandemic, right? So, at the time, it's well proven in economic theory. I remember studying for this when I did my MBA. It's well proven that during the times of crisis and downturn, there's market consolidation. Okay, most people will step back from marketing, which creates a vacuum. And what that means is that your marketing spend will go much, much further. Okay, so you should be looking to step up, not step down your marketing when things get tough. And we saw that during the pandemic. I'm sure you saw it with your clients too, Gareth. When clients stepped up with their marketing, they were winners when they came out of the COVID crisis. And we're going to see that again over the next 12 months or so, right?
Yeah, no, totally. And, a real practical example of that was Google ads, because there was less people paying, your money went actually a lot further and people's cost per click went down. I've got no data to back it up, but I'm sure the same would be for Facebook. I'm sure it'd be for all the platforms actually, that your cost per click goes down because there's less people competing in the market. So absolutely. I mean, it's that old saying, right? When times are good, you need to do marketing. When times are bad, you need to do marketing, right? You just always need to do marketing. You might think of different ways to do it, and you certainly need to think of new ways to stand out in your marketing, and maybe you want to employ some sort of like guerrilla marketing tactics that don't cost a lot but get you a lot of notice and that kind of thing. I always say, when the economy's bad and we are forecast to be in recession in October and all this, I always say, like, you want to make sure your business is a bartender business. And what do I mean by that, right? Is when times are good, people have a drink, but when times are bad, people have 2 drinks, right? So do you have a bartender business that is almost recession proof? Okay. Do you have an offering that people still need in a recession or a depression or whatever we're going into? Do you have that offering within your arsenal?
Yeah. Actually, I saw a really good interview on local TV. You probably didn't see it where you are, but they had a professor from Cranfield Business School on the TV the other morning, and he was saying that although technically we are going to go into a recession, it's not going to feel like one this time, because in reality, the prices are rising, which is what's driving the cost of living because of the increase in gas prices, right? But there's still 1.8 million job vacancies out there. Normally, when I can remember when I was a kid, we talked about Margaret Thatcher's missing 3 million, right? We're not going to see that this time. There's 1.8 million people job vacancies available during the summer, and it was rising at the rate of 100,000 a week. So this isn't going to feel, we're not going to hear lots of talk this time about people being unemployed and stuff, right? It's just we're going to see prices rising. And so we've got to respond and act and do with them. So you've got to drive the business. The most important thing that you can do, folks, is to plan rather than to panic, right? Got to make plan more than anything else. So what are your thoughts? I can see there's quite a few people on, by the way, at the moment. So if you've got questions, put them in the comments, folks. We'd love to hear from you. If you are feverishly commenting and we're not seeing them, then I do apologize for that. They're not coming through on any of my screens. So if you've got questions and comments, please put them in the chat. So Gareth, look, the number one thing, right, is plan, don't panic. So my question for folks is, what's your plan for the next 90 days? What would you have people planning on, Gareth?
I mean, I think it's about being really super focused on things like your marketing numbers, on your client acquisition cost, on your lifetime value, of your average sale, that kind of thing. And I would be getting really hyper laser focused on those numbers and seeing how you can affect each one. And a really simple exercise people can do is, every client that you have or every customer that you have or every task that you do as a business, just work out what your profitability is on each job or client or whatever, okay, and figure out your most profitable activity and double down on that, right? And I'm gonna throw this out as a caveat, because every time I tell this to a client, they go, "Oh, I already know that." And I go, "Okay, well, let's do the exercise anyway." And it's never what they think it is. Okay, so I mean, it's just one of those things about I definitely know my conversion rate. Okay, well, let's just measure it. Okay, and it's always different. All right, so I get that you might think but spend the next week and just try and figure it out, your top 4 most profitable tasks.
Absolutely.
And double down on it. I think that's probably one. But getting laser focused, getting hyper focused on your numbers.
Yeah, look, this is all about managing. This is all about the devil's in the detail now, folks. You've got to plan your activity. Have you got a marketing plan for the next 90 days? If you haven't, you need to get one. Have you got a cash flow forecast? So many business owners that we start off with, when we first talk to them, will say to us, I'll say, "Can I see your cash flow forecast? Can I see your marketing plan?" I haven't got one. I haven't got it. So no wonder they lie in bed at night doing the mental gymnastics, worrying about what's coming in and what's going out, because they haven't written it down and planned it for the next 90 days. They haven't built a cash flow forecast. We use something called Action Plan with our clients. All of our clients get Action Plan, and in there they can all build a cash flow forecast, right? So it enables them to stay on top of the numbers. And it's really, really key because it stops you from lying in bed awake, worrying about what's happening, how you're going to pay the next bill, when you're going to close the next client, when you're going to get the next lot of money in. That all goes away, right, Gareth, with a cash flow forecast.
Yeah, I mean, or worse. Oh yeah, I know that it's in my head. Right, that's what I get a lot as well. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's in my head. Right. Well, that's not a plan. That's a concern. That's not a plan. Yeah, absolutely. Getting super focused on your daily activity for the next 90 days, what is going to bring in money now, what's going to bring in money later, and what else can I do to bring in money? I think those are the three things people should be focusing on, absolutely. And it's not all bad, I mean, when you think of all the gold rushes in the history of the world, in South Africa and Australia, who made the most money, right? Was it the people panning for gold, or was it the people selling the pans, right? It's the people selling the pans, because everybody needs one of those. So if you can pivot your business, that word pivot has been really abused, but if you can change your business, if you can focus on the selling the pans rather than the panning for gold, that's a win.
Yeah, and now what's quite interesting, so in addition to selling the pans, what else can you sell? And I can see there's a few people over on the iPad. I can see that there's one person in particular who I know who's watching right now. Not going to name them, but they've done a brilliant job of adding on they've looked for lots and lots and lots of additional revenue streams, which collectively, if they implement all of them, will probably surpass all of the initial revenue that they had in their business. And I know that from my automotive days. It was all the extras that you used to sell on top, which is where all the profit was. It wasn't in the main product or service. It was in all the extras and the add-ons, right? So for your example, in addition to selling the pans, it's the light and the blanket and the tent and all the other bits that go on top.
And then making it a no-brainer offer. We always talk about a no-brainer offer. How could you bundle your products in such a way that and price it correctly, where you're still making a profit, but it's just an absolute no-brainer that the person buys from you. So you want to be going, you get the pan, and you get this, 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 right? And then the price is insignificant because you've provided so much perceived value. You could almost charge what you want, and then you're not worried about inflation or the economy or what Liz Truss is going to do to the business, because you've created your own economy.
Exactly. So take control, folks. You've got to take control of your own destiny, right? Don't be a victim, be a victor. In fact, on Business Basics last Thursday, I talked about being above the point of power, right, Gareth? Ownership, accountability, responsibility. That's what people need to be taking. If you're below the point of power, then you're going to be in denial. You're going to be making excuses, right? You're going to be having false optimism. So get yourself above the point of power. Take control. One way that you can take control, folks, looking forward to this. We've got a brilliant series of events coming up at the end of September. Okay, we've got some growth entrepreneur events running where you can come and build your 90-day plan for your business. It's unbelievable value. You'll get a one-day workshop with Gareth and I. You'll get action plan software where you can actually build your plan. You'll get a 1-hour strategy review with not just me, but with Gareth as well to review your plan. And on top of all of that, you'll get access to our proprietary learning portal that's got 45 hours of content with the incredible Brad Sugars, the founder of Business Coaching and the founder of Action Coach, who created our business. We're now on 90 countries around the world, okay? And it's 40 quid. How can you get all of that? Go to our webpage, go to miltonkeynes.actioncoach.co.uk. go to the events page, and all the details for where you can register are over there. You can come in person, you can come to Milton Keynes, you can go to Bedford, you can go to Luton, you can come to Northampton. You can also join us virtually. And Gareth, separately, Gareth, you're running an event for some clients over in your area, over in Oswestry, right?
Yeah,
as well.
Absolutely. So that is a no-brainer offer, isn't it? That's what we've just been talking about. It's an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer for 40 quid and all that stuff for a 30-day trial. It's a no-brainer. So we'd love to see you there. Oh, and somebody's put a comment on, by the way. Cannot wait to see you at MK at the Growth Entrepreneur. Brilliant. I think I know who that was. Let me guess. Was that Terry? My guess is that's Terry. Thank you, Terry. That's fantastic. Folks, put your comments in, put your questions in. We can't wait to it's not a question and answer or an ask me anything if you don't ask your questions, right? So if you've got any questions, pop them in. Gareth, is there anything else that you'd go through? What about time? What about managing your time and being super focused on your high value tasks in the next 90 days?
Yeah, now more than ever, and this is what we were alluding to, I think, when we first started the broadcast, was making sure that you are super focused on those high value tasks, those £1,000 an hour tasks, right? As a business owner, we don't want to be doing £10 an hour tasks. We want to be doing £1,000 an hour tasks. So what are those? What are the things in the business that only you can do? Okay. And really, is there anything that you're doing that you think only you can do, but actually somebody else could do it? You might think that only you can do it, but actually, there's hundreds of people who could do it, and then think about, do you need to be doing it? Right? Is it absolutely critical that you do this task? Is there someone you can delegate it to? All right. Is there someone in the business or out the business that you can give this task to? And then thirdly, if you don't need to be doing it, is to ditch it and just get rid of the task. If it's not making you money, what's the point? If it's not going to bring in revenue, what's the point? So it's making sure you do it, delegate it, or ditch it.
Love it. Do it, delegate it, ditch it. The 3 Ds, right? That's absolutely brilliant. Can't wait to see you at MK Growth Entrepreneur. The last one was really awesome. It really helped clear the mind and to set targets. Brilliant. Now I definitely know who that was. Folks, if you haven't got yourself booked in, there are quite a few people booked in already. Go and get yourself booked up for the 90-day Growth Entrepreneur. It's a full-day workshop. It's access to action plan. It's a 1-hour strategy review with Gareth and I, plus 45 hours in our learning portal, 45 hours of Brad Sugars doing 30x. So go and get yourself, go and look at miltonkeynes.actioncoach.co.uk/events. Choose your location. It'll be Milton Keynes, it'll be Rest Park, Northampton, or virtual. And separately, Gareth, you're promoting an event via Eventbrite, right? For your event over in Oswestry as well.
Yeah, it's going to be at the Milton Keynes Hotel.
Lovely, fantastic. And it's 40 quid, guys. It's an unbelievable package. So get yourself signed up for that. All right. Look, no more questions coming in, Gareth. It's been brilliant to see you. Thank you so much.
Let's do this again.
Yeah, we'll do it again. So same time next week, folks, 7 o'clock on all platforms. We can't wait to see you. Have a great evening, folks. Bye for now.